defend that title once again. He was outstanding a week ago.
That's right. He was steady, right to the pocket, to the point, and making shots when he had to, Steve.
We'll see two left-handers. Dwight Robinson won against two right-handers this afternoon.
That's right. We're going to see the equal amount of action from both sides of the lane for the first time this year, I believe, and all the players in the warm-up look strong and healthy.
One of the right-handers is Earl Weatherford.
Earl the Twirl Weatherford, we call him. He cranks it up. You look at that deep knee bend and just cranks right up through the ball. He's a super player, really twirls them up, and he even runs them out once in a while.
We will also see Kim Herrmann, who we had on last week as well.
Well, to give Dwight a little company on the left side, again, steady. Nothing extraordinary about his game, but he's right there every time, right over his mark and steady to the point. Going to have a good match.
It is my understanding that when Tim Sharp is sharp, he is absolutely brilliant.
To coin a phrase, he's razor sharp. Steve, he picked that name up quite a few years ago as a joke, but it's actually pretty much describes his game. He is sharp. He's slow. He throws the ball slower than most of our other players today, and he's steady. Again, a lot of turn, a lot of pins going to be flying around. I'm glad we're sitting in the back.
We'll come back with the first game of the BPA King of Bowling after these words.
A little quieter than usual, but Earl's concentration looks pretty good, except for the 5-pin.
And he leaves the 1.
Steve, you think this is close? Wait till we get to next week at Glenmore Lanes. We'll be sitting down there with the bowlers.
Best way to see the action. Kim Herrmann. There is your left-hander. 28-year-old plumber from Cincinnati. Average 22. And we have a great crowd behind us here at Seymour Bowl in Cincinnati. Kim Herrmann. We watched him a week ago for that $750 first prize. He'll try again. He has that traditional 4-step approach, both using full fingertip slot grip.
The grip he uses is quite unusual, Steve, with the slot grip in there. It gives you a completely different feel with the bowling ball. I think he's only one of about a half a dozen players in this area that still use that particular grip.
Dave,
you can get a shot of it there.
Exactly. I've got to feel that just getting that spare on the opening frame, unlike he did a week ago, has got to help his poise.
4-pin leans on it, but will not knock it over. 2 good shots to open the match with, Steve.
Yes, it is. And he's left the same 7-pin on each occasion. Remember last week, he struggled in the first 2 frames, and it seemed to hurt him the rest of the morning.
Playing catch-up is not where you want to be. You want to be a front runner and try to stay there.
Nails it perfectly, and Kim Herrmann opens with 2 spares. And will send it over to Earl Weatherford. Again, Earl, a lot like our king today, defending King Dwight Robinson, starting bowling at a rather older age.
There you go.
There's the strike. He started bowling when he was 25. He's 33 years old. But he has really worked at his game, and he's had 4 300 games in his career.
We can see the power I talked about in the opening, Steve, right here. Look at his deep knee bend at the bottom of the release, and then using his entire body and his wrist to come up through the ball for that ultimate power shot that we just saw.
I don't think people realize how much legs go with bowling. That's what you were talking about there, but he does leave the 10.
Well, that ball didn't go into a roll near as well as the one on the right lane, lane 22 here at Seymour. It skidded out, and when it hit the pocket, it did deflect, causing the weak 10. One more adjustment on that left lane, and I think it'd be right there.
He has the spare. So after opening, leaving 1 in the first frame, he's come back with a strike and a spare. Picked it up. We go back to Kim Herrmann.
At this early part of the match, Steve, Kim Herrmann enjoying a 10-pin lead, but knowing cannot let up for a minute.
Perfect. And it was. He smashed it down the middle, dropping the 2 end pins off in the alleys.
Let's take a look at it here on a replay. Super. Like I said, no frills bowling right here. Just perfect execution, good roll on the ball, 10 pins in the pit. Kim Herrmann is coming after Earl the Twirl.
He always seems to have that crease of a smile.
I think that's a schmirk.
A schmirk? He's got his family here.
Get up. Get up.
Again. And that family who is here is very proud of Kim Herrmann.
Four frames, Stephen, 4 perfect shots, as we can see there on the score table. A 20-pin advantage right now, and that's if Earl strikes. Earl Weatherford, 29 in the second frame, is going to have to get moving. It's close. Awesome. Absolutely awesome.
He said he had to get that strike to keep in contention with Kim Herrmann, and the strike is exactly what he got. We saw a very, very patient bowler a week ago in Tim Roberts. These bowlers have really sped up their delivery.
Steve, I'll tell you what, we'll get a chance to look at Tim Roberts again next week. If his score holds up through today's qualifying rounds, Tim Roberts, leader in the clubhouse, 728 at Stumps Lanes right now. He has not made the adjustment on the left lane yet. I'm very, very surprised.
It seems to be the one to hurt him.
The left lane obviously a little tighter in this match for Earl. Not making the adjustments, going right over about the 16th board. And look at it there. The ball's never going into the roll that it needs to go into to strike.
Very fortunate to pick up the head pick.
Exactly. He's fortunate to have a 1-pin spare to shoot at, Steve.
But he nails it and gives the hammer back to Kim Herrmann. Kim says his grandparents are watching today, and they still bowl with the senior citizens at Coleraine Bowl. He says his grandfather is 90 years old. He says his grandmother would not let him say his age.
Get up. Get up.
And Kim Herrmann, his grandmother smiling off to the side, watches grandson Kim Herrmann drive another strike home.
Steve, you talk about senior citizens. We've got the senior citizen in the crowd today. Probably one of the greatest, if not the greatest, bowlers in Greater Cincinnati's history, Rudy Fassel. As Kim moves up to the line, you'll see him come into your picture. We'll catch a shot of him later on.
And again, Kim Herrmann with a strong crowd he brings today. Beautiful strike, and we'll see his congratulations from Earl Weatherford, who now must come from behind, like Kim Herrmann had to do so often a week ago.
Earl Weatherford is a super sportsman. He's a great person, a good individual, and he better solve the left lane. Obviously perfect on the right lane, Steve. Very comfortable. The left lane, he's going to have to make an adjustment.
It's like night and day. Right lane has been fabulous for him. He's bowled 304 times in his great career, 299 3 times, and he's had 1/800 series.
Let's see if he gets this left lane under control. If he can get back in this match. If he cannot, wide again.
Seemed to sneak around that head pin just barely again, or he just nicked it, and it went by, number 2.
See, Steve, in this game, it's not quite like any other game. Your only opponent is yourself and your ability to figure out and change as the conditions change or if things are different. It's no problem with the lane. It's just an accepted part of bowling, and you have to learn to deal with it.
Well, he picks up the spare, but again, it's been that left frame from the right frame, and you think perhaps it might be a little psychological now?
It could be, but 9 times out of 10 it isn't. There is a difference in the lane someplace, and you just have to make adjustments either with your feet or with your equipment to compensate.
Yeah. Look at that.
And you could see the reaction from Kim Herrmann as he came away with a big grin on his face.
Oh, he's happy. Let's take a look at it, Steve. This pin's going to get hit twice. Now, the 4-pin goes to the channel, hits it once. Now watch the neck of it. Say, will you get out of here? Now, go. Wait, bye. Okay. That's what you got to have, Steve. You got to have things going your way, and what you do, you can win.
Look at that. Again, Kim Herrmann. look of confidence on his face now as Earl Weatherford approaches the right lane.
Rightly so, Steve. That was an excellent shot, a good put-away shot. 50 pins in the 6th frame up, as you can see, 109 to 159. Tack 10 more on for a double. That spells trouble for Mr. Weatherford.
I'd like to remind folks that the Seymour Lanes will be hosting the 7th semi-annual Over the Hill Senior Singles Handicap Tournament starting April 28th through May 27th. First place is $1,000.
Look out. Mental letdown there, Steve. He knows he was in the biz bag. He's just about ready to haul him away, and it just didn't use his brain on the spare. You can turn out the lights. Ken Rippinger, Lee Ritter down there for the Hudy Brewery people. My favorite people, especially this time of year with that Hudy Bach. Love it. Good stuff. The left lane, finally.
And Earl comes back with a grin on his face like, finally, we've gotten rid of that left frame. Finally, was able to pick up that strike. So Kim Herrmann back.
Oh, Kimmer.
On a string. 6 perfect strikes. 8 perfect deliveries. Let's see if he can make it 9.
Did it again. His highest game ever is at 289, but his average right at 222. So consistency, Kim Herrmann's game, and he's showing it through the last 7 we've seen.
Every ball's been perfect, Steve. It just lost a hit. It was a weak 7 in the 1st frame, a pretty good 7 in the 2nd frame, and from there on out, every shot has been elbow deep.
Get up. Come on up, man. Hold the one.
He did lead the 1 pin, but Dave, like you talked about, the consistency we've seen in the delivery.
Yeah, the 6 pin is what we're going to be looking at standing here. Now that, the center of your screen, the head pin, is going to go straight back, push the 3 pin off to the right, which would normally take out that pin, leaving an easy spare. Cross lane, 6 pin, no problem.
Well, he cracked his strike streak, but came back with the spare.
And we always like to mention the alternate, who would normally have been Fuzzy Jones with 692, but he's not here. Rick Collins chose not to show up. He had 6th and 7th place honors with 690 and 686. So Bill Heflin's keeping score.
Herrmann has it again. Brilliant performance by Kim Herrmann.
Excellent game, 258, super strong, great game. Where is this ball? Look at it come back, my goodness.
Earl the Twirl.
Tim Roberts from last week will be back. Weatherford, you see, out of it. 258, too strong for him today. Ralph Goyette, 715. Tom Casey, 705. Low to cash so far at Stumps, 607. Qualifying going on all day today. Stumps Lanes, Western Hills.
Again, he fires away, but too little too late for Earl Weatherford, as again Kim Herrmann will move to the 2nd game.
Caroline Hoffman, the leader in the clubhouse for the women, 630 and 570 low to cash for the women at Stumps. Earl just twirled them up a little too late. Run into a tough competitor, 258. Steve, we saw a heck of a match and a good game out of Kim Herrmann.
Yes.
Look at that.
It finally needled its way and caught it off the corner. So Kim Herrmann with a 258 in the 1st game. A sensational start for Kim Herrmann. He will move on to game number 2.